Karen Bonafilio, Outer Realms, Inner Journeys. We have John Bazley back on. Hi, John. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me back, Karen.
You know that I love having you on the channel. And John is going to give you something fascinating that you're going to learn about today. He is a psychic medium, but he specializes in psychic detection. What the heck is that? We're going to find out. It's so cool. But let me tell you a little bit about it. He's going to talk about forensic astrology today. It's a tool in a psychic's arsenal which can shed light on dark areas of a crime scene. It's a fundamental part of validating what comes through a psychic senses through investigation. So basically, he is called in on cases where the police need his help or family members, and he's going to tell you about all the stuff that he does. And I've been learning about it before we got on, and it is fascinating. So, John, tell us about what you do.
All right. Well, forensic astrology is just one tool in a psychic detective's toolbox. Other things are dowsing rods, remote viewing, trance mediumship, and things like that. But with forensic astrology, we can actually take a look at a crime through the lens of astrology the moment a crime occurs.
As it occurs, or the moment that it did happen. Okay.
And how that's done is we look at a chart. It's similar to a birth chart. To, I would say, a layperson, it would look exactly like a birth chart. But for us, it's called an event chart. And we look at the houses and the signs and the planets and the degrees at which the planets are at differently than we do regular astrology. The meanings are different. So, for instance, I'll say this: we could take a little tour if you want. Would you like to take a look at a chart?
I would love to take a look at a chart.
Okay.
So, when you're talking about someone who has passed away,
they could be murdered, disappeared, abducted, kidnapped, however you want to say it. They could be a runaway as well. There's different types of crime that an event chart can take a look at.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. This is going to be fascinating. Yes, I would love to see a chart and how you do that.
So this particular chart that I'll show you in just a minute is a chart of a murder. I thought that would be a little exciting. This is a bit of a tragedy. A man was murdered out in Oklahoma. His body was found wrapped in a blanket out in a field by a highway. That was all in the chart. The man's niece had reached out on a Facebook group. And I can't remember if it was the Darkest Astrology or Death in Astrology. Those are two groups I belong to. They're run by the same person who's also a forensic astrologer, Pythias Serpentis. And she said, yeah, my uncle was murdered 2 days ago. Can you help? And when someone says, can you help? There's power in those words because they're inviting you in. When you're invited in, the energy is different.
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
Right? And I almost put those three words above those famous three words, I love you, because you're going to help someone.
Mm-hmm.
So she reached out, and she reached out with the birth chart. And I asked her, do you have the date of the murder, the location of the murder, and a timestamp? So what's a timestamp? A timestamp is when a 911 call is placed. When a police report or a missing persons report is issued. The last seen by a witness, a last cell phone call or a last text message by a person, when an Amber Alert goes out. And the last one, which is probably the worst one, is CCTV, security camera footage.
Oh,
They have dates and timestamps, but they're always about an hour or so behind. You're seeing the person alive on there, so you have to kind of guess as to when they were murdered. Okay, they were seen here in this camera, they were seen there in that camera. Maybe an hour later, something happened to them. So you have to have those three things. Those are vital information, and the more accurate, the better.
mm-hmm.
In the IT world, which is my day job, we like to say with information, garbage in, garbage out. We deal a lot with reporting, right? So if the information of the chart is no good, you're not going to get good information from it. So that was vital. She was able to provide that. And what I do is from that moment, especially when I'm dealing with this group, I call them, and it's probably an awful term to some people, I call them Saturday morning specials. Usually I wake up, I go to my phone, I go on this Facebook group, I see something like that, and then I just start working. I work on the chart. And
Oh,
I'll
okay.
give them 10, 12, 15 things that I see in the chart. And I'll say, hey, does this resonate? Is any of this accurate? And with her, she said, you're 100% spot on about a lot of the stuff. I'm like, okay, great. And I said, you know what? Let's come off the group. Let's go on to Messenger, just you and I, and then we'll work together. You're now my client, and everything is kept confidential at that point, and I start working with the person. But let's take a look at the chart, shall we?
Yeah, John, is that kind of hard, or do you get accustomed to that? Because you're talking to people at a very painful point of their life that they're having to talk about this.
Well, being a psychic medium, especially medium, all mediums are healers, right? And I would say that we have a lot of empathy. So,
Yes.
we can sympathize with it, but we could actually feel it. Even if it's just words on a page coming from the victim's family member, you can feel that. Now, I worked in a hospital for a long time. I worked in a trauma center for 5 years. It was a great job. I'll never do it again. But there is where I learned the art of detachment. Doesn't mean we're dispassionate, but you kind of detach yourself from those emotions, and then it becomes all about the work for the family member.
I'm just wondering, how do you get in that frame of mind? Because I know, and I'm a little off track, because like when people are encompassed with grief, that would be nice if they could do detachment.
Well, with that particular thing, with a family member, I would say that would be pretty hard because grief will always be there. I think that it does change over time, but I think there's also a living side by side with it that ends up happening. But I don't think I think that the detachment works better for me because
Okay.
I can just put my emotions aside. It's like compartmentalizing. like
Yes.
Jacqueline Onassis, right?
Mhm.
She was a great one for that. And you just kind of step outside yourself. You put those emotions to the side, and then you get to work. And that's the best thing that we could do for the family member, the loved one, the
Right.
friend, the bereaved, the injured.
Okay. John, I know you want to put the chart up. Um, I think you need to click on it to bring it back up.
I do.
Yes, or resend it.
And here we go.
Yeah.
Okay. And if we can bring the chart up, there it is. Okay. So what you're looking at is an event chart. And we have the different houses. These are the wedged shaped pieces of the chart that you see all around here. There's
Uh-huh.
12 of them. And it starts off with the very first house. This is I can go over the houses pretty quickly. This is the person and their surroundings. Second house is possessions. Third house is neighborhood, communication, short journeys. Fourth house is the home, the end of the matter, burials and funerals. Fifth house is children, playgrounds. You see a lot of pedophilia in the fifth house.
Oh.
It's also bars, nightclubs. Sixth house is work and health and stalkers as well.
Mm.
We could see here Pluto is in the sixth house. Pluto is a point of trouble in the chart. A lot of people go there first and look at Pluto, and that's telling me to look at that. Probably a stalker. Probably has to do with work. Maybe the place of work is the problem.
Oh, wow.
And in this particular case, it was. So Michael, who was the victim, he owned a cannabis shop and made a lot of money with it, kept a lot of money in the safe. It was known throughout people in the town. So there's your problem area in there.
Yeah.
Now, Leo is governing that first house. So here's our victim right here. This is Michael. He's in the ninth house, but we have a secondary ruling planet for the victim, and that's the moon. The moon will always be a secondary ruling planet for the victim. It's in the 12th house. The 12th house is a lot of things. It's the hidden enemy. It's hidden things. It's kind of a spiritual house. It's a house of undoing. The moon is in here, and since it's a death house, he's most likely dead. And I stated that in those 10, 12, 15 things that I sent out to the niece.
Okay.
We also see, we'll move up into the seventh house. The seventh house is the house of the open enemy. It's also relationships. We see a lot of things in here as well. We see Saturn. Saturn is the body and the bones. It could be a lot of other things. It could be old. It could be to stop, to hold. It could also be the color black. But in this particular case, it's the body. And it's at 22 degrees. Degrees mean a lot here. That's a big one, to kill or be killed. So that's telling me that this particular happening was a situation where if he lived, he was going to rat probably on the perpetrators. So they had to kill him.
Oh.
Already we're getting to a lot of information in the chart. Now we have two.
So, John,
Yeah.
would that lead you to believe that he knew the perpetrators? If
Oh, absolutely. And here are these are two representatives of the perpetrator. we see a woman and a man. So it's kind of telling a story. And this is a stellium.
It is.
So this is three planets conjunct each other, and it forms a stellium. Stelliums are very powerful in energy. So it's telling me that there's a woman involved, but there's also a man involved.
Wow.
And this woman could also be a mother. And the psychic mediums that worked on this case also felt that it was a mother as well. So
Mother.
we didn't know how it fit in the beginning, but that was the information that I put out in the chart. Also, we see here Neptune, and Neptune is in Pisces. And Neptune in Pisces will often be drugs, alcohol, or mental illness. It could be one of them, it could be all of them. It just so happens that drugs were involved because he owned the cannabis shop. There probably was some mental illness in there, but here it is, 23 degrees, which is the evidence degree. So there was something there that was part of evidence, and it was probably the drugs. And this is the eighth house. This is the death house. So it has to do with his death, and it also has to do with money. The eighth house governs the big three in any of the crimes: sex, drugs, money. It also governs insurance, inheritances, death itself.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a death house as well, and it also governs the occult. It's governed by Scorpio. So that's making a lot of sense now.
Gosh.
So we move up to the ninth house, another spiritual house. This also governs long journeys, crossing borders, and so on. Chiron, the wounded healer. It describes injuries, marks, tattoos, scars, but mostly injuries. And here it is in Aries. And what does Aries govern? The head. So it's what it's describing here
Oh,
is
God.
a head blow, and that could be a headache, a migraine headache. It could be an aneurysm. It could be a hemorrhage. It could be a blunt force trauma.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a gunshot to the head. There's many different forms of a head blow, but in this case, I felt as a psychic medium that it was a gunshot to the head. What we also see here is I'm going to go back to here. Mars and Saturn, they're together, they're conjunct, and this most often shows to me a decapitation. So I had to put that in there, and I had to give it to the niece, but and I felt bad about it, but that's the information that was there. So I kept going back and forth. I couldn't decide, is this a gunshot to the head or is this a decapitation? I just couldn't get away from that. But this is one of those cases where two things can be true at the same time, and we'll go back to that. Now, right here is actually our perpetrator, and it's right near our victim. So it's Uranus. It's high in the chart, so it has a tremendous amount of power. The power that it has. It's controlling this whole event that's happening right before us. And here, over here, we have in the 11th house of networking, friends, and so on is Dark Moon Lilith. And it's in Gemini. Gemini is 2 of, and that's telling me again, there's 2 people involved. There's 2 perpetrators in here, and they're somehow connected to our victim through networking, friendships, somehow in there. 11th house also governs parties. And over here we have the North Node. The North Node is fake. It's a ruse. It's a scheme. It's dirty. and it's right next to Uranus. Uranus is in Taurus, and that could be a fast suffocation. It could be a scream. Um, it could also be a fake suicide. So it could look like a suicide, but it's not.
No, it's not.
Yeah. And then down on the bottom of the chart at the fourth house, end of the matter, as I stated, is the south node. It's always opposite the north node.
Mm-hmm.
South node is the truth. It's also it's evidence in a way, but in Scorpio, it's the hidden truth. So and also what's left behind. So as I said, evidence. What's left?
Oh, okay. Okay, so I have a question. You had two perpetrators,
Yes.
and then there's a wound to the head somehow,
Yes.
and then you have someone who was in control of all of that.
Yes.
But then, okay.
So we have a lot of things going on here. Now, this isn't the. I haven't given you every infinitesimal bit of information. There's a lot of information in there. I'm giving you the big picture.
Okay.
For me here. So what ended up happening, and we can go away from the chart now.
Well, I want to ask something.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to call it an intake. You interviewed this lady. At that point in time, had the body been discovered yet?
Oh yeah, the body had been discovered 2 days prior to me working on the case. But
okay, so she wanted to know more specifics.
She wanted to know who did it, and this niece at the time was 19 years old, and she was going to neighborhoods knocking on doors, and I was like, please don't do that, that's dangerous.
No.
Let the police do that, and we'll let them handle those types of matters. But she's a very strong person, and she loved her uncle, and I did encounter his spirit while I was working on the chart.
Oh, did you?
It was on when I start working on a chart, my mind is solely on that. And like I found that working on a chart is like when you're washing the dishes or you're taking a shower or you're driving a car. You can go into a trance, right? And it frees your mind because you're only doing one thing.
Right.
And that allows those souls to come in. So he did come in, and I experienced a tremendous amount of depression with him. But he was a kind soul. He was a loving soul. He always put on a happy face for his loved one and for his friends and so on. And that's how he was. That's how he's described. But here was the thing that was interesting about the case. It was about a week later. The niece, she called me. She was so distraught, and she says, "Oh, John, I wanted to leave a satchel in my uncle's coffin, filled with some crystals and some mementos and something, but the casket was shut, and the funeral home wasn't opening it." And so I said, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that." She's like, "Well, what could I do?" And I said, "Here's what you're going to do. You're going to have my report tonight at 9.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to the funeral home tomorrow," I said, "I want you to go find the mortician. They're closer to the spirit world than you think." And I said, "Hand him the report." And I said, "See if anything jumps out at him." So she contacted me later at the end of the funeral, and she said that she went in, she did find the mortician, she handed him the report. And he looked at it and he goes, "Yeah," he goes, the gunshot to the head and the decapitation," he said, "I'm sorry to say, but your uncle's head was blown completely off of his body. There was nothing left." So 2 things are true at the same time.
Yeah.
The head blow and the decapitation. And that's why I couldn't get away from it. That's what I find that now in charts, when I can't get away from either or, and I'm going back and forth on Bazley, that means that they're true at the same time.
It was both. It was both.
So so that was true. What also else was true, that there were two perpetrators.
Mhm.
There was a man and a woman, which we said in my report.
Mhm.
One of them was a mother, and the male was her son.
God.
So the niece said, when everything hit the light of day, because the police came out with it at the same day as the funeral, she said, my mother, who was the biggest skeptic on the planet, is now down with psychic mediums and astrologers.
I wonder why. I mean, that's so specific. All the information you gave was specific
I know it's
and
crazy.
verified.
And let me show you something as well. I'm going to share.
Wow.
Is that sharing now?
It's just amazing you could ascertain all that. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Okay.
So let me stop sharing this one, and let me
Wow.
present another.
You can bring people so much relief.
So let's share my screen now, and there are your perpetrators.
That's a mom.
Pillar of the community. Yes,
She looks like a meth head.
she was actually. We said that in the report. One of the psychics said meth mouth, and yeah,
Oh, okay.
and they were meth addicts. Both of them were drug addicts,
Wow.
unfortunately. And what happened was they just meant to take the money from him. They came with a shotgun,
Oh,
but Michael fought back, and he fought back so hard that the gun went off. It was at close range, and but that was one of the good things that actually came out of the case, is that he had this fighting spirit. He died bravely, trying to defend himself. He wasn't going to lie down and let these people take his money. And they one of the psychics said they didn't expect it. They didn't expect him to fight back because he was such a nice guy. He was such a kind guy, and he did. And it took him by surprise. And then boom,
and then they.
it's off. And now they're both in jail for murder.
Yeah, and I just can't understand. I mean, I know they're on drugs, but they're going to get caught if they leave him alive too.
Yeah.
He could identify his attackers and
Well, true, but when you're on drugs like that, you really don't care. You just want the money. You just want that next high. That's all you're thinking about. It's like that on that show Intervention, right?
yeah.
How many times have we heard those same things? They don't care, unfortunately.
Wow, John, this is just fascinating. It seriously is. This is a whole new world for me.
Uh,
Wow.
yeah.
So when you generate a report, do you take that to the police? Do you contact them or do you let them know ahead of time this is what you're doing to help the family?
Well, no, I give the report to the family. I could show you a report. So let's do that. And this is actually the report that I had presented to the niece.
Okay. Yeah, it wasn't a good idea for her to go from door to door.
Oh my God! I said, please do not do that. I can't do another chart for this. So let's bring up the chart,
Oh,
the report. So here is the actual report that was given to uh, the niece.
uh-huh.
And I did put the chart up there, up on top. It has a lot of the pertinent information, the timestamp of 3 o'clock, the date, and so on, where it had taken place. I put the planets in for other astrologers if they want to take a look at it. This is just some more information, the overall impression of the chart. And where I get these numbers is how many times I see this in the chart. So
Oh, I see.
it kind of gives an idea of what's going on in there. And then the psychic mediums that were involved, I don't put their names on there. I don't even put my name on the chart because there could be some retaliation there.
Oh,
Yeah, I worked on a case in Barbados, and the people that committed the crime, they went to the family's home and said, if you continue working with psychics, we will do the same thing to you as we did to your son, and we'll do the same thing to the psychics. So thank God my name wasn't on that.
that's scary.
Yeah, yeah. So
Well,
here,
you're dealing with people that are crazy.
yeah, but so I mean, look at this. Here's the music from the show Breaking Bad, and what did it have to do with drugs, right? Meth.
Drugs.
Breaking
Drugs.
Bad was about a teacher making meth, right? Psychic 2, drugs
He
and
needed
money.
more money. God.
Yeah. Here we have Psychic 3, missing teeth. There's another thing there. There's one there that says meth mouth somewhere down there. The death pattern. So we said the moon, and the moon is at 8 degrees. 8 degrees is like the 8th house, means death. Moon was in the 12th house, a death house. And then I give all the, as I said before, all the information that we had in the chart. And then finally, I do an avenues of inquiry. And this is probably what you just hand over to the police. I do it a little bit differently these days, but 2 persons, a woman. Here's the mouth. One was in trouble with the law before. The police know about it. And Michael knew at least one of his assailants, which he did. Yeah, so it turned out really really well.
And I know you've proven your credibility with the police, but it's because they call you to the scene of many crimes and have you have you there with helping also.
Yeah, from time to time, but mostly it's families. And I like to say we don't solve the crimes. That's for the police to do. What we do is we bring light into dark places, truth where there is no truth, and we do it through forensic astrology. We do it through the psychic work, or some of those tools in our toolbox, and we're just signposts. That's all we are. We're pointing the way to different things, and that's what the police use, and that's where they go with the information.
I've just never heard of this. We need to get this out more so people know that there is an avenue that they can turn to and get some help when they need those answers also.
Right. I would love to. I mean, I work with families mostly, but I would love to work with the police or private investigators on these matters. So if they would like to work with me, that's fine. I've had my reports go to the FBI, but I haven't worked with them one-on-one.
Mm-hmm. And then people can get a hold of you through your website and talk to you then and there.
Yeah, the perceptiveinvestigator.com. And there's a place for them. They can look up, who I am, what I'm about, these things that I do, tarot cards, I do dowsing, do the forensic astrology, psychic mediumship. I don't do platform mediumship. I don't do the got your grandmother, she loves you dearly, she smokes a cigarette, grandfather in heaven. I don't do that.
Yeah, well, you're into trance mediumship too, so.
Yeah, no, I like to do the trance, but it works out well with the forensic astrology. I just this year I've realized that I'm doing trance when I do that, and I'm psychometrizing the chart. And that's another tool we use, psychometry, holding onto a watch or something like that and getting information from that.
So when you use the dowsing rods, is that when you're at the scene of a crime or something like that?
Yeah, I've gone to a scene of a crime, and I've used the dowsing rods to say, this is where the event took place right here. And sometimes I'll prove things to them. I've led them to a place where they found a purse, and I'll say, well, here's where the purse was, and they'll say, oh yeah, that's where it was.
Oh,
It's already in an evidence bag. It's already at the police station.
right.
I didn't know where it was. But the
Mhm.
dowsing rods led me there. So that gets the police on board and saying, okay, he knows what he's talking about. What else
Yeah,
can he show us?
because they could be skeptics
Right,
unless they've worked with you before.
exactly.
Wow,
And you know what? It's okay for them to be skeptics. I'm a skeptic myself. Things have to be proven to me, and I like skeptics. I think people should be skeptical. We've talked about this before
Mhm.
in our previous one. So there's a lot of charlatans out there.
Oh, how can you spot a charlatan?
Well, you know what? They're usually asking for a lot of money. So, as I said in
Oh,
the previous episode, they'll say, "Okay, you know what? Here, buy this candle for $3. Light it every night.
oh,
It goes down, and then for four
God.
hundred dollars, I'll get rid of that evil entity around you when there is none." So
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
yeah,
I've been approached by charlatans,
yeah.
but to me, my radar, picks it up
Mm.
in the minute they start asking for the money. And so this service that you provide, tell the audience about the service, because I asked you a question and I asked you how much you charge for that.
Yeah, I don't charge anything. There is a page on my website if they want to leave a donation. Many times I'll just say, hey, if you want to give money, why don't you donate to a charity that's near and dear to you? Or I have charities that I work with. I used to work with Save a Fox and
Oh,
animal shelters, things like that, or a cat that's in need of an operation. I'll say, let's donate to that, and so on.
I think that's wonderful. I do. Yeah.
It's nice to have that energy exchange, and the reason why I do it for free is because I'm always learning. And if I learn something from a case, there's the exchange for me, and that helps me in future cases.
And to be a service and to help someone and during a very horrific time has to be so gratifying that you can help someone that way.
Well, we the work that we do, we come from a place of compassion
Mm.
always, and really what it comes down to is whether you're a psychic or a medium or forensic astrologer, we're all kind of healers. What we do is, when we're talking to the victims, we're kind of like psychologists. We have to watch what we say. First do no harm, right? But
Yes.
we're really helping them. We're helping them move on, and we're ending that or putting to rest that endless speculation that's going on. How did my loved one die? Or I know how they died, but why? And so on like that. And then when we bring answers to them, that puts it to rest, and it brings them a sense of solace, and it helps them to move on. It doesn't end the grieving. Nothing ends that, but it helps them to live along beside it.
Well, I know if I were the niece and I knew that my uncle had died from that type of gunshot, I knew that man did not suffer. So that would bring for me peace knowing that. Not I'm not glad that he's gone or anything, but I knew he did not suffer.
Right. And you heard me talk about Uranus and Taurus, fast suffocation.
Yeah.
I don't say that to the family members. As a matter of fact, I make two reports now. I do one that's for the police or for the medium that sometimes comes to me and says, hey, I have this family member, can you help out? And I have a softened one, a more toned down one for the family. So I'm not going to say fast suffocation. I'll say more like a quick unconsciousness. Yes, they didn't suffer. So,
Yeah.
the words like that.
Yeah, you don't want that lingering in their mind later.
No. You don't want you don't want them imagining that their loved one
No, because they want to know that their loved one died instantly and no suffering.
and unfortunately, sometimes there's no easy way to say things, like with this niece, I had to say decapitation, gunshot to the head, and she said, I was a little taken aback by that, but it was true, and I also give a warning to family members. I'll give them an email. I'll kind of explain what's going on in there, preparing them for what's happening. Much as like a doctor prepares a family member before they enter a trauma,
Yes.
to see their loved one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll text them ahead of time saying, hey, listen, I sent you the report. Don't open the report yet. Read my email first, please. And it kind of lets them know there's some graphic things. But you know what? I found families are resilient. And oftentimes they'll say, John, we've heard everything. We've heard all the stories. There's nothing you could say that'll throw us. So there you go.
Okay. Oh, John, is there anything else you'd like to mention to the audience?
Well, I would say that we can be of great help in cases, cold cases. I like to say where the psychics have ended their work, or the mediums have ended their work, and the police have ended their work, and there's still no resolution. That's where my work begins. So please reach out, and we can be of a big help to them. I work with a psychic detection group.
Yeah.
And some other forensic astrologers there, and I think people work best in groups, and we could be of a lot of service, and oftentimes we are. Like I said, we don't solve the case, but we've overturned cases. We've we've changed the determination of a medical examiner's report, where they'll say, "Oh, it's suicide," and we'll say, "No, it's not. Here's what we've got," and then it's proven. And then they say, "Oh, it is a homicide."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, no, it is. It's interesting. I'll just tell you very quickly. I don't know how much time do we have left.
As much as you want.
Okay, well, I did a case out of Texas, and I looked at the chart, and it was a case where a daughter of a woman that had come to a medium friend of mine was found in a car, gunshot to the head. There's no blood in the car. There's no spray or anything, no blood pattern.
Yeah.
She was also stabbed in the abdomen, and the police ruled it a suicide. The medical examiner.
Right.
See your reaction? That's the reaction I had, right away. I said, if you don't see blood pattern in the blood spray, the car, it couldn't have been a suicide. But now I have to go about proving it. So I looked in the chart, and there was something about a building in the 10th house. Which means it was a public house. It was a public building.
Okay.
And I said, oh, there's something about that building. I said, what is that public building? And the medium said, oh, she went back and forth between her home and this apartment building. I'm like, the apartment building, that's it. That's the area that we have to take a look at. So I gave them the report with all the other information. Yes, there was a gunshot to the head. Also psychically, I said, take a look at the angle of the stab wounds. There's something about the angle. I don't know what it is. So the medium in my report, and the mother, to her credit, went to the apartment building. She hung up flyers. If you have any information, here's my phone number, here's my email address, and so on. And a mysterious email showed up in her inbox with a video clip. And there was no name attached or anything like that. There was video. The video didn't show anything, but the audio gave everything.
Oh.
Bang, bang, help, help. I've been shot in the head. And 2 sets of footsteps, and one heavier than the other.
2 sets.
Right. So she gave that video it was Ring doorbell video to the captain of the police department, and he said, oh, I have to reopen the case. It's now a homicide. Great. Now, she called up the medical examiner and she said, "Oh, I've been working with a psychic." I wish she hadn't said that, but she said, "I'm working with a psychic," and he said to look at the angles of the stab wounds. The medical examiner hung the phone up on her and called back an hour later, to her credit. And she said, "I've re-examined the body. The stab wounds could not have been self-inflicted. I'm changing the determination of the case from suicide to a homicide."
Okay, good.
And you know what? My job is done at that part. Now they have to go
And find the perpetrator.
find the perpetrator and so on. So,
Well,
but
I have to know the ending of the story. Did they find the perpetrator?
you know what? I will tell you, about 98% of the time, I don't get the feedback on what's happened. So, but you know what? I've done my job, and the case was reopened. So we've done our work.
Wow.
Yeah.
You lead this double life, John. You have this kind of like normal high pressure job during the day, and then this completely different side of you too. It's fascinating.
Oh yeah, no, it's kind of like being Batman, you know. I'm in the hospital by day doing IT, and at night I'm doing this stuff as a detective. You know.
Do you have a Batmobile?
I did not. My car is black.
John, you are fascinating, and I'm going to encourage my viewers, if you have lost someone due to a tragedy like that and you need some closure, please reach out to him.
Please do. Thank you so much, Karen. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be on your show.
Oh, I love having you on. I really do. Okay. Thank you so much, John, and we will maybe talk later.
Yes, let's do this again.
Okay. Seriously?
Seriously, absolutely.
Okay, we'll do it again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.